All right. It is that time of the year. My 2026 first round mock draft version 1.0 is here for your enjoyment in this video. Before we start, I do want to apologize because I said this video would come out earlier in the week and that ultimately did not happen. So I apologize for that. Other things before we get into the mock itself, the mock is mostly surface level. I didn't do a lot of research going into it, just like I did with my 1.0 mock draft last year. I like to take my first mock draft at face value of how I understand the prospects as they are now. And then as we get closer and closer to the draft, and as I am able to gather more and more information on the prospects, it gets a little bit more refined as we go along. This one, though, I cheated a little bit off of that. I had to do some surface level research for these prospects just to see, okay, you know, are they a power edge rusher or are they a speed rusher? For example, for some of these top edge rusher prospects, right? So I had to look into that a little bit just so I can get a better understanding of scheme fits for each team, which can help me get a more accurate mock and have a better understanding of where these players could possibly land. So it's going to be a more refined version of 1.0 compared to last year, which I do like. Another thing, there are 2 trades in this mock draft. I didn't mock any trades last year, because it was hard to do. I was like, how can I even mock a trade? But this one, I took a swing at it, and while these 2 trades may not be realistic, they could possibly happen in some capacity, one of which I think will happen in some capacity with 100% certainty, which we'll get to near the end of the first round mock. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But with that being said, I think that's all I got for you. Let's go into the mock. I'm going to do this really rapid fire. I'm not going to spend too much time about each prospect because we have 32 to go through. So it's not going to be a 30+ long minute video, I don't think. If it ends up being that long, oh well, I tried. But we're going to try and not make that happen. But here we go. Let's go into it right now. First overall pick in the first round, I'll have the Las Vegas Raiders taking quarterback Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. This is a shoo-in pick. It's the obvious first overall pick, just like Cam Ward last year. It's not going to be anybody else. It is 100% going to be Fernando Mendoza. And here's what he brings. He brings a lot of toughness. He brings a lot of accuracy. His ball placement and his ability to throw receivers open is really, really good. And for a quarterback that has to really have a good processing speed, have a good understanding of going through his progressions, especially in Clint Kubiak's system, I think Fernando Mendoza is a good fit here, and he will be the future leader of the Las Vegas Raiders. Maybe he can be the final or the first piece of solving a big puzzle that the Raiders have going into this rebuild and solving all of their problems and whatnot. Now we'll go to number 2. The New York Jets select edge rusher Arvell Reese out of Ohio State, and former linebacker transitioning to edge rusher. This is as high of a ceiling of a player you could possibly get in this type of draft class where the prospects aren't great compared to other ones. His ceiling is ridiculously high. He has great motor, violent at the point of attack. This is a guy that could be like a Micah Parsons light, like a diet Micah Parsons. Is he ever going to be that good? I don't know. I don't think so, but he could be an A-tier, high-impact player, and to get him here to get a foundational piece for the Jets defense, which was historically bad last year. Part of their problem with not getting any turnovers or any interceptions was because they couldn't get a pass rush. Arvell Reese can solve that problem. That's why he's going number 2. He is easily the number 2 player on the board anyways. That is a shoo-in pick. Fernando Mendoza and Arvell Reese are definitely going 1 and 2. That is not going to change at all for me, and that's going to happen guaranteed. Now we get to number 3 of the Arizona Cardinals. They select tackle out of Miami, Francis Mauigoa. I like the run game ability from Mauigoa. For someone his size, he moves very, very well. And for Mike LaFleur, their new head coach, coming from the McVay coaching tree, who just used a lot of 13 personnel, a lot of run game elements into their scheme, Mauigoa makes a lot of sense. The only question marks are his length. It's a little bit iffy. Would he be better off kicking into guard? Maybe. I don't know. I think that he has enough upside as a pass protector to really take that chance on him as a tackle and for him to stay that way. And also, like I said, with the scheme fit and how he moves, It's a great opportunity to fill a big need for the Cardinals with someone who could excel and start day one. And then number 4, Tennessee Titans. I have them taking edge rusher David Bailey out of Texas Tech. In my Titans mock draft, I had them going Ruben Bain, but with a little bit of research, I realized, Ruben Bain is a power edge rusher. And they have 2 power edge rushers in Femi Oladejo and Jermaine Johnson. They're not going to take a third one. They need a speed rusher. That's where David Bailey comes in. And David Bailey, probably the best pure pass rusher right now that could start right away out of all these top edge rusher prospects, and probably has the best, probably will give you the most sacks in year one. The question for me is, for someone who is a speed rusher, does not have any bend, that is extremely concerning for me. And also, the run defense concerns are also very highly. He did improve in his senior year at Texas Tech, but I would like to see a little bit more here. But in terms of a pure pass rusher who is explosive, has a great first step, and has good length, he fits the bill for what the Titans need, and I think they will take him at number 4 overall at this point. I think that's a guarantee for me, just about. Number 5, I had the Giants taking Ohio State receiver Carnell Tate. With the injury concerns with Jordan Tyson and potential character issues with Makai Lemon that have come out at the NFL Combine, at this point, while Carnell Tate may not be the best receiver prospect on the board, he is the safest one to take at this point, and here's a good reason why. Carnell Tate, 0 drop rate. Didn't have a single drop last year at Ohio State, to my understanding. And also, he moves really well. He's a natural mover, great at route running down the field, which is why he was able to get open so much. So you talk about a vertical threat that could really help Jackson Dart, and you pair that with Malik Neighbors, who's a big burner in his own right. He's got great speed. You got 2 receivers that can win vertically down the field. That is a deadly, deadly, deadly matchup at its peak. So they get a good prospect here in Carnell Tate that can really help push the offense vertically. Number 6, I had the Browns taking Spencer Fano, the tackle out of Utah. Gotta love Utah offensive linemen. They got a factory over there, especially in this first round. They got 2 tackles going in the first round, but Spencer Fano is the better one in my opinion, and he's another guy that is really good in the run game, which helps with the Todd Monken scheme, their new head coach, and has plenty of upside as a pass protector. And Spencer Fano, you start him at left tackle. They got traded for Titus Howard. You now have your 2 starting tackles for the long term, and that is has to be a comforting feeling for Browns fans. I really like how he moves. It's a great fit for me personally. Now we get to the Commanders at number 7. I have them taking Makai Lemon, the receiver out of USC, who we just mentioned a second ago. A lot of people have them going edge rusher here, and I could definitely see that. It's a big need for them, but considering they just gave Odafe Oweh a massive contract, maybe going Makai Lemon here makes a little bit more sense. But here's the thing. He is dynamic. He is polished as a route runner as it gets. His stop-start quickness is incredible. He's also, his physicality for someone smaller, for someone his size, is also very good. It's kind of hard to justify taking a slot receiver this high, but considering that what he will give you and what he can do as a receiver, he's got a guy like Jackson Smith and Jigba written all over him. He definitely has a lot of similarities in his game, and so adding that type of explosive playmaker that can win underneath would be really helpful for Jayden Daniels. And also, getting a weapon for your young quarterback is never a bad idea. So definitely could be an explosive splash move for the Commanders if they take Makai Lemon. Number 8 overall, I have the Saints taking Ruben Bain, the edge rusher out of Miami. Here's the deal. Because of what other teams need at the top, his stock ends up dropping naturally because of that. But also, the Saints, they have problems defending against the run. They have players that are good pass rushers, but not good run defenders. Ruben Bain solves that problem. He is the highest floor player out of all these edge rushers at the top, and he is great in run defense, obviously, like we talked about, but plays with power, physicality, a great motor that is never ending. The only thing is he going to be able to give you a lot in the pass rush because of his 30-inch arms, which are historically small. No edge rusher has ever succeeded with arms that short. That's been well documented at this point. So at worst, you're getting an average pass rusher, but a pretty dang good run defender, in my opinion. But at his best, you get one of the most powerful, complete edge rushers in his draft class. He also has a decent amount of techniques in his tool bag to work with. So definitely a lot of upside and high floor here for Rueben Bain. Number 9, I have the Kansas City Chiefs taking corner Mansour Delane out of LSU. They have a big need at corner. They traded Trent McDuffie. They let go of Jalen Watson. They need a cornerback 1, and Mansour Delane is the best corner in this draft class. He is smart. He is intelligent. And while he doesn't have the best length, he fills in for that with those traits that I just talked about. He is scheme versatile, and for a corner that needs to play on the outside, that needs to play smart in Steve Spagnuolo's defense, Mansour Delane is a perfect fit, and he will start day one right away and can probably play pretty well for them. Number 10, I have the Cincinnati Bengals taking safety Caleb Downs out of Ohio State. If it wasn't for the fact that he was a safety, he'd be going top 3 in this draft. This is a generational safety prospect, one of the best guys we've seen come out in a very long time. He can do anything you ask him. He can play back deep. He can play multiple roles in the box, in big nickel, in run defense, covering tight ends. You name it, this guy can do it. And considering that the Bengals defense was horrible last year, they could use a safety like Caleb Downs. That would be a great first piece to begin fixing a horrendous defense. And also Al Golden gets his golden goose with Caleb Downs. Number 11, we're staying with the secondary. The Miami Dolphins select corner Jermod McCoy, my guy, Jermod McCoy, out of the University of Tennessee. Go Vols. He is a boundary, high upside corner that has good speed, really good length. And the thing is, the Dolphins need corner really bad. That is one of their, probably their true biggest need for 2 years running now. And with Jermod McCoy, even though he's a little bit raw as a player, give him some time to develop under Jeff Hafley, who is their new head coach. I think he can get the most out of a guy like Jermod McCoy. I like the need fill. I like the scheme fit. It makes a lot of sense to go with Jermod McCoy here, the second best corner on the board. Dallas Cowboys at number 12. Because they couldn't take a corner, which is one of their bigger needs, they settle for another big need with a big player. Keldrick Falk, edge rusher out of Auburn. 6'6", 285 pounds. This has Jerry Jones written all over it. It's going to be hard for a guy like Jerry Jones to pass up someone who's that big, that strong, and who absolutely dominates at the point of attack. He absolutely destroys offensive linemen. He collapses the pocket like it's nothing. If you could teach this guy a couple pass rush moves and teach him really how to play edge rusher at the next level and let him develop, this could be one of the best edge rushers in the entire league, period. And the only thing I'm concerned about with this, if taking Keldrick Falk here, is because they just traded away Micah Parsons. If Keldrick Falk doesn't live up to Micah Parsons' expectations, or to his caliber of play, I should say, which that's a high bar to reach, it's not going to look good. So it would put a lot of pressure on Keldrick Falk, but at the same time, that would be a fantastic player if he could develop and grow into the pass rusher that he could possibly be, or best he could possibly be. Number 13, I have the Rams taking safety Dylan Thielman out of Oregon. While a little bit of a high reach, and there's probably some other needs that I would say are more immediate for the Rams, Dylan Thielman is a great football player, and they get their version of Nick Amenwori. Well, not as nowhere near as big. He is smart, high IQ, can play back, can play multiple roles in the box. He has great instincts. He can take it with a deep shot. There's a lot to like with Dylan Thielman. He's a really well-rounded football player, and obviously if it wasn't for Caleb Downs, he would have gone number 10 to the Cincinnati Bengals, in my opinion. That's definitely a possibility, if that was in the possibility, but obviously with Caleb Downs being there, obviously not. But with that being said, Dylan Thielman will be a great player and a great fit for the Rams defense as they continue to compete for championships with Matthew Stafford still with the team. Number 14, Baltimore Ravens, because Max Crosby, or the Ravens backed out of the Max Crosby trade, which is a whole can of worms that I might make a video for. I'm not really sure quite yet, but I'm debating it. If you guys want to see it, let me know in the comments down below. But back to the pick, I have them taking Jordan Tyson, the receiver out of Arizona State. If Jordan Tyson can stay healthy, this would be one of the biggest steals of the entire draft. He is the best receiver in this draft class when he is healthy. Jordan Tyson, the size, the speed, the way he runs routes, this is the one true wide receiver where this could be an absolute superstar at his position. And so getting him here would be great value. The thing is, he just has to stay healthy. If he can't stay healthy, this isn't going to matter. But that's the big question mark. But right here at 14, the Ravens need a wide receiver. Taking one that can win on the outside and help open up things for Zay Flowers underneath is definitely the right move to me on paper. Excuse me. Now we go to number 15th overall. The Buccaneers select linebacker Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. If you did not see what Sonny Styles did at the NFL Combine, you need to go watch it. You need to go watch it. You need to go look at the statistics and the measurables that he put up there. It was insane. It was the greatest workout and performance we've ever seen a linebacker do at the NFL Combine, and you can... I'm not even going to debate with you about that. That is a fact, how good he was at the Combine. This is a guy that will doesn't have to start right away because of Lavonte David, and he also signed Alex Anzalone, but he is a chess piece that can do anything you ask him. He can cover tight ends, he can play in coverage, he can do all of it. And you draft Sonny Styles, not only would this be the perfect Lavonte David replacement, but also this would be an anchor for your defense for a decade. That's how good Sonny Styles is. I love him as a prospect, and for Tampa, of all teams, to get him would be absolutely amazing and also poetic. Now we go back to the New York Jets at pick 16. They have 2 first-round picks in this year's draft, and they double up on defensive line here with Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. Originally going to be a top pick in this year's draft, but a inconsistent 2025 made him go down the board. But here's the deal. You add Arvell Reese, who is a physical freak athlete. You add Peter Woods, who at his size is impossible to move in the run game, but is also a great penetrator and in collapsing the interior of an offensive line. You pair him with Arvell Reese, and you have 2 foundational pieces for your defensive line, but also more importantly, that will help you give your defense an identity. And if your defense has an identity and your defensive line can be the heart and soul of that, that would help so much with this football team. Aaron Glenn would be fantastic, or would be beaming from ear to ear, I should say. Be feeling fantastic, beaming from ear to ear if he was able to walk away with Arvell Reese and Peter Woods. Now we go to 17. The Detroit Lions select Caleb Lomu. This is the other Utah offensive tackle. Now, Caleb Lomu is he's a better pass protector than he is a run blocker. But here's the thing. He is 6'6", prototypical size. He is tough, has good technique, and while he's not the best in the run game, he is a good finisher, which is nice. The Lions need that. The only thing I'm concerned about is, would they take Lomu because he's a better pass protector than a run blocker? I don't know, but at the same time, offensive line is a big need for the Lions, and it would not surprise me if they went with Caleb Lomu. I like him as a prospect, obviously coming out of Utah. The Utah tackles tend to do well in the NFL. I like the pick. I like the fit for the most part. This is a Dan Campbell move. It's got his name written all over it. Number 18, I had the Minnesota Vikings selecting safety out of Toledo, Emmanuel McNeill-Warren, someone that has been shooting at the draft boards a little bit as of late, and here is why. McNeill-Warren is a turnover machine. He had 13 turnovers in college. He is always around the ball. He is speedy. He is a violent tackler, and he swarms to the ball. He is a ball hawk in that sense. It's not really a ball hawk, kind of, sort of, whatever, maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point. But he is rangy. He can get down the field. He can, like I said, he's a big turnover machine. This would be a really good fit and a good Harrison Smith replacement, kind of, for the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, Harrison Smith was a little bit more of a sit back deep. McNeill-Warren, well, yeah, he can shut down plays vertically. He is better suited playing more closer to the box against the run, where he can really use his instincts and his physicality in a really good way. Number 19, here it is. Carolina Panthers select, as my script goes away, they select running back Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. If you've been wondering where he is, here he is. Gotta love the value of a running back because all these other teams need other positions. Jeremiah Love's draft spot slides significantly, but here's the deal. While the Panthers don't necessarily need a running back, they don't need an edge rusher. They just paid Jalen Phillips a whole bunch of money, which that was a massive overpay, ridiculously massive overpay. That's 100% going to bite the Panthers in the butt. It's going to happen. Like, let's be honest for a second. But that being said, here's the deal. Bryce Young has a really, really good young receiver in Terrell McMillan. Why not go get the best running back in this draft and give him a generational run game to go with that receiver? You give him Jeremiah Love, who has great speed, great contact balance, who can score from anywhere on the field. That would help Bryce Young so much. And under Dave Canales' system, oh, it's such a good fit. I would love this pick. I would absolutely love this pick. And as someone who is thinking that the Carolina Panthers are going to take a big step forward in 2026, Jeremiah Love would be on the forefront of that big jump. Now we're getting into the 20s. Dallas Cowboys show up here again, and they finally get the corner that they've been looking for. They select Colton Hood, another one of my guys out of Tennessee. He's always around the ball. He led the SEC in pass deflections, so he has good ball skills. He has good long speed, which helps with preventing separation down the field at the end, at the catch point. He's good at that. Here's the deal. With all these receivers that are in the NFC East, with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you have Terry McLaurin in there. You maybe Mekhi Lemon, if that's where the Commanders go. And you talk about Malik Neighbors, Carnell Tate. You have a lot of receivers that can win vertically down the field, and Colton Hood is good at running with receivers and knocking away the ball at the last second. So it would fit really well. And if this defensive line can get better, that'll help him out as well. Him and Keldrick Falk are two big needs for the Dallas Cowboys and would be a great start to fixing another horrendously bad defense for them in 2025. Now, we go to the Steelers at 21, and they go conservative here with an offensive lineman, a guard, Vega Lone out of Penn State. Here's the deal. He is high IQ, massive, has a nasty streak. When you see him block in the run game, he will drive you to the ground. He is built on moving people off their, built to be a person that moves others off their spot. That is what he does. And you look at the offense in Pittsburgh, they need a quarterback still, but there's no quarterback obviously worth taking at this point. But you have the weapons, you have the a good offensive coach in Mike McCarthy. You give a better offensive line to the quarterback that's going to be leading your football team. Having a guy like Vega Lone up front next to Braxton Jones or Broderick Jones would be a really good, young, talented duo to work with, even though Broderick Jones has not been that great in particular, but definitely would be interesting to see, and definitely he could bring a lot of help. He's a high-floor football player that will play well right out of the gate. Now, 22, I have the LA Chargers selecting Akeem Mesidor, the edge rusher out of Miami, pairing opposite of Ruben Bain. He is a 25-year-old prospect, so a little bit older, but he is the most technically sound pass rusher in the first round out of these guys, in terms of he's got a lot of tools in his bag to work with, and also he can rush from the edge. He can kick inside if you need him to. He's also a high IQ, very smart football player. So in the Chargers defense, he can be a really good piece that can start right away, contribute, and while I don't know if he's going to be an alpha number one edge rusher ever in his career, he will be a very good contributor, a very good B-plus tier edge rusher at his peak, and you need good football players like that at this point. I think it would be a really good fit to draft Akeem Mesidor. Now we go to number 23. The Philadelphia Eagles select tackle Max Ianacker is how you pronounce that. I can't remember how it's exactly pronounced, so if I butchered it, I'm sorry, but he is an offensive tackle out of Arizona State. He hadn't started playing football until high school, but here's the deal. Lane Johnson is going to retire after this year, I believe, and he is the perfect replacement for Lane Johnson. He's going to have time to learn, develop, and for someone his size, he is the best mover out of anybody in this draft class. He moves so well. He moves like he's 30 pounds lighter than what he actually is. It's incredible. If you can give him the time to teach him how to play tackle at the NFL level, he would be a perfect fit for the Philadelphia Eagles and what they do on offense, running the ball. He would be a great people mover, a guy that can set and anchor his feet and not get moved in pass protection. There is a lot to like. He's one of my favorite players in this entire draft because the upside is just too good to pass up in the first round. Then we have our first trade. The Cleveland Browns trade from 24 down to 29. with the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Is it 29? I'm right. Yes, it is 29. But the Chiefs trade up and they select tight end Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. Need I say more? The replacement for Travis Kelce, but he is a physical freak. He is 230 pounds, runs a 4.36, can stretch the field horizontally, vertically, attack over the middle. This is a dynamic weapon. And the Chiefs do not have an elite, consistent, dynamic weapon. Rashee Rice was supposed to be that. He hasn't been that. Xavier Worthy was supposed to be that. He hasn't quite done that yet either. Obviously, they still have time, but Kenyon Sadiq would give them a weapon right away that could instantly stretch a defense, be a matchup nightmare for linebackers and DBs. And with Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball and Andy Reid scheming with the scheme, wow, it would be an incredible fit. I think Kenyon Sadiq would be really, really good in Kansas City. Now we jump to number 25. The Chicago Bears select TJ Parker, the edge rusher out of Clemson. A very high floor, physically imposing, strong pass rusher. Here's the deal. I feel like I've said that a lot, actually. I've said here's the deal like probably 5 or 6, maybe 7 times at this point. Oh my goodness. I apologize. But here, I don't know how to say it again. Okay, TJ Parker, high floor pass rusher. The thing is his ceiling high? I don't know. I think that his ceiling's probably going to be anywhere around a B tier, maybe B minus tier. He's a guy that can start right away and contribute, but you look at what he did in 2025 and how his production fell off a cliff compared to 2024. That is concerning to me, but there is plenty to like, and the Bears need an edge rusher. Why not take a guy like TJ Parker? Maybe they take a guy with a little bit more upside that maybe not worth first round pedigree, but with the upside, it might be worth it in this type of draft class. But TJ Parker, edge rusher, not a bad selection at all. Now, number 26, the Buffalo Bills, they select wide receiver Denzel Boston out of Washington. 6'4", vertical threat, big hands, big catch radius, great 50-50 ball guy. He's great at the catch point. He will be an immediate red zone threat for the Buffalo Bills, but more importantly, he rounds out their receiving core. Boston will be your physical X. You have Shakir as your Y in the slot, and you have DJ Moore as your Z receiver. This would be the most well-rounded receiving core that Josh Allen has ever had on paper. And going receiver here, Brandon Beane is going to draft a receiver at 26. That is a guarantee that is going to happen. Will it be Denzel Boston? Maybe not, but it would be a really good fit and would really, like I said, round out the wide receiving core in Buffalo. Okay, number 27, I have the 49ers selecting Caden Proctor, the offensive tackle out of Alabama. The reason why I had them taking Proctor here is because he is 6'7", 360 pounds. He is a mammoth of a human being. This is the biggest tackle prospect going into the draft, and for him to sit and learn behind Trent Williams, maybe if Trent Williams is gone, Caden Proctor could be that next franchise left tackle for them. He's great in the run game, but the thing is, because of his size, he's a slow mover, so you want him to shred about 20 pounds, maybe 20, 30 pounds, possibly, right? Kind of like J.C. Latham coming out of Alabama. He was a big people mover, but struggled in pass pro because of his size, and he needed to slim down, and he slimmed down and got much better in the second half of last year. So Caden Proctor could be J.C. Latham again, but on the left side instead of the right side. I really like the fit here with his size, former 5-star recruit as well. This would really, really help the San Francisco 49ers in a time where their offensive line has definitely quite a few question marks. Now we get to 28, and I have the Texans selecting Lee Hunter, the defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. They really need to go offensive line in the first round, but unfortunately, there is no guard that is worth taking at this point. So not a bad idea to get a guy on the interior of your defensive line that is 320 pounds, can't move him in the run game, another guy who is impossible to move, another really good penetrator in the A-gap. Love that fit. And also, he would make the jobs of Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson on the edge so much easier. If you think that the Texans' defensive line could get any better than they were last year, adding Lee Hunter will make them better from day one. Bet on that. Then 29, the Browns, after their trade down, select corner Brandon Cisse, the corner out of South Carolina. I don't think The Browns would take a corner in the first round, but where they have bigger needs, the value isn't there to justify taking them in the first round. So you take one of the best players available in Brandon Cisse, and Cisse is a gritty, physical, high-energy player that would absolutely thrive in the Browns defense, in my opinion, because of those intangible traits. And the thing is, corners in Cleveland, are asked a lot. They're asked to do a lot. They're expected a lot out of. And because of his motor and relentless nature, I think that he can work hard. He can develop and really become a perfect corner to complement Denzel Ward. And you get two outside corners that are really, really good. And then you have Myles Garrett rushing the passer. That is a terrifying thought to think about if you're a quarterback, because that just makes Myles Garrett's job that much easier. So while not the biggest need for the Browns, taking Brandon Cisse, I could see it happening. I like the player at least. There's a lot to like with Brandon Cisse, one of my favorite players in the entire draft. Now it gets to 30, where we have our next trade. The Denver Broncos trade down with the Los Angeles Rams, and the Rams draft quarterback Ty Simpson out of Alabama. Though this trade probably not going to be realistic, because the next pick the Rams have is 66th overall in the second round. So you're jumping up 30 spots to go get Ty Simpson. That's a little bit, for as much as you're going to have to give up to get him, for Ty Simpson, that's a little bit too much. But I will tell you, someone will trade up in the back end of the first round to take Ty Simpson. That is going to happen 100%. There are teams at the top of the second round that are looking at quarterback, and Ty Simpson will be the second one off the board after Fernando Mendoza. There is no doubt about it. And one team will trade in back into the first round to buy the peace of mind to take Ty Simpson. He has a really big arm. He has good mobility. He is a good processor. There's a lot of floor traits to like about Ty Simpson. You give him time to develop, and he can be a solid, quality starting quarterback that could stabilize your franchise for years to come. Now it gets to number 31. The New England Patriots select wide receiver KC Concepcion out of Texas A&M. This is straight up, you throw him a slant route, he will take it to the house. He can score anywhere on the field, and how fast he is, how quickly he separates. He will stretch defenses horizontally in a way that will help the Patriots offense continue to push the ball down the field vertically. He is a perfect complement to the receivers that are in the room with Drake May right now, and I would love for them to get KC Concepcion. He would be such a good fit in that offense and really become a security blanket that Drake May kind of lost when they cut Stephon Diggs. Now at 32, the last pick in the first round, the Seahawks select Avion Terrell, the corner out of Clemson, AJ Terrell's younger brother. While Avion is not the physical specimen that his brother AJ is, Avion Terrell is probably the most technically sound corner in this draft class at this moment, for the most part, other than Mansour Delane. But he is feisty, he plays with a chip on his shoulder, and with good reaction time, he can do exactly what's asked out of a Mike Macdonald corner, which is to play on the boundary and be on an island by yourself a little bit. Avion Terrell has the traits for that to translate into day one starting capabilities, and adding a corner next to Devon Witherspoon after losing Riq Woolen, I could argue that as a maybe not as a ceiling, but as an overall player, Avion Terrell could be a better player than Tariq Woolen. I like the fit. I like the player. He's definitely going to go first round. I think Avion Terrell could go higher than 32. So that's something I'm going to be looking out for once the draft hits in April. With that being said, that is it for my first round mock draft version 1.0. I know I went through that very quickly, but then again, I don't know how much time this actually was. I can't see, obviously, because I'm recording my phone, but that is the first round mock draft. If you have made it this far, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe button. It would help me out a lot if you try to reach 300 subscribers here. We're almost there. So please, please, please do hit those buttons. It would help me out a lot. Please, please. Thank you. Anyways, what do you guys think of the mock draft? What do you guys think each team will pick? What do you think of your team picking each player that I specified? Let me know everything you guys are thinking in the comments down below. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And as always, I will see you all next time.